number, only gives the last 3 digits.
Camera's live. Live. Elvis is live.
Yeah, we saw him yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah. Angie, what do I put for amount? That amount's always the same, right?
Just put like 100% or full
Okay.
balance, or
Okay.
something like that is fine. If you're just having it go into one
Yeah.
account.
Okay, I'll pass that down to Aaron, please.
No, thanks for asking.
And thank you. Thanks for doing that.
Is that yours? Here, Karen says that's yours. 1 minute.
So I'm sneak in here early and change this chair. You're sitting on the ground in this one.
If I make that happen for you, who do you want to stick with it?
I don't care, somebody's taller than I am.
Hi.
It is pretty. What is that around it?
Time.
Is it a blue stuff?
All right, we'll bring this meeting to order.
That's beautiful.
Angie, roll call.
Certainly. Wales is absent. Bishop?
Here.
Dunham? Here. Larson? No, is absent, sorry. Miller?
Here.
Needham?
Here.
White.
Mostly.
Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I'll take a motion for approval of the regular agenda.
I would move to approve the regular agenda.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? On to 3, consent agenda.
I'll make the motion.
All right. Is that a roll call, Angie?
No, that's.
No? Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? All right, on to 4, brief public comments. Please state your name, place of residence, and disclose any financial relationship with the village of Kalkaska. Please direct all comments to the village pro tem and limit comments to 3 minutes or less. Any public comment? No public comment. 5 presentations, we have none. 6 bills and finance. You wanna do that?
You can do that.
All right, we met at 5 o'clock today. And went over the current invoices, payroll reconciliations, monthly payroll, journal entries, bank reconciliations. And we recommend, I make a motion, pay the bills.
Someone else will have to make the motion.
Oh, yeah, I can. See, thank you. That's why I
I don't
said you
have the
guys do that. Here. I told you, that's why I said you guys do the part.
You are now the
And the finance,
presidente.
yes.
Yes.
It's easier if they do.
All right, we recommend, or we move that we pay the bills in the amount of $127,145.41.
Say that amount again, I'm sorry.
$127,145.41.
Thank you.
The invoiced amount was $379,769.72.
Is that higher than normal? 379?
About normal, depending on what's going on.
It goes back and forth.
Seemed higher.
And that's the motion, so we need to start.
Second.
Thank you. There's no discussion on the bills, I'll take a roll call vote. Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
Yes.
Larson is absent, Miller,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Wales is absent, motion carries.
All right. And then we discussed the contract with Housing North and authorizing resolution. Would you like to-
So I just want to clarify, because in the resolution, it specifically says that we would pay $10,000 to Housing North for 1 year of service, but it specifies the 2021-2022 budget year. So I just wanted to get I think we need a new resolution, correct, Angie?
Or take a vote to
Or just take a vote
to
to say that,
authorize the funds in this budget.
is that
year.
sufficient for
I
what we?
would think it would be
Okay.
sufficient, yes.
So
I
I-
will make the motion to authorize the funds to come out of this year's budget rather than last year's, to pay house bill.
I'll second that.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
So, roll call vote.
Yes, I will take a roll call vote. Dunham,
Yes.
Larson is absent, Miller,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
and Wales is absent, motion carries.
All right, on to 7, reports from other committees. A, Personnel Committee.
Hi. Let me get down to here, right here. We did a couple things that time. In fact, our meeting was quite long. We met on October 31st. And just for reference, I don't know if it matters or not, another person that was in attendance was Lloyd, DPW chair. We discussed the village contributions to employee 457 account. And it is our let me discuss a little bit what it is. We discussed the MERS contribution issue in addition of work boots reimbursements for DPW employees. We discussed a new resolution for indemnification for all village officials and employees, which we'll come to later. Got a couple recommendations, and the first one's going to be to amend the personnel manual as shown to section 6.1, the retirement plan, and section 10.7, work boots. You can explain it better than I can, I think. Why we're doing this is because they are able to put money into the 457.
So what they were told when they were hired was that they could change the 2% contribution over time. They actually found out that was not correct. And this is back 2 or 3 managers ago, so this is old. It was actually reflected in the union contract that 2% was put into their 457 to make up for that loss. And once we had all the employees are no longer in the union, we didn't have it in writing anywhere, so it needed to be added to the handbook.
So we'd like to make that correction by making the recommendation in a motion to amend the personnel manual as shown, section 6.1, retirement plan, and section 10.7, and the work boots.
I'll support the motion.
Thank you.
And the work boots was the same thing, it was in the union
Union
contract.
contract, yeah.
Do we have a second?
Yes.
It was
I have to
voted.
second.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And I will take a roll call vote on this.
Yeah, please.
Larson is absent, Miller,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
Yes.
Wales is absent, motion carries.
And you will find those changes in the personnel manual copy that you got in red. If you didn't read the 215-page email. Okay, the second one was back to Aaron's contract, which we've discussed for many times. We've decided the contract from another attorney's view is acceptable, it's correct, that's right. But the addendum, A, or attachment A, I call it addendum, it should be attachment A, has been rewritten as should have been presented to all of you. And we feel that it expresses what needs to be said. And we would make a recommendation to approve the new attachment A dated November 14th, 2022.
I don't know if it made it into the packet, but I would request that we authorize Nikki to be the signer on it. because we don't have anybody else here to sign it.
That's true. Well, I would amend my motion to include that allowing acting chair president, Mickey Miller would be allowed to sign the contract.
Be Michelle.
Michelle, yeah.
Her two.
My nickname.
I'll second.
Thank you.
And I would just like to add from the personnel meeting that this is based off of the contract that was signed, I believe, in 2019 with the
2019,
previous manager, which we reverted back to, which is what was voted on last year, and what was valid. And I know I talked a lot about the manager's contract, so I'd just like to point out that we have switched the PTO to be the same as what's in the personnel manual. So since Popa has been with us for so long, he will actually be getting a little bit more PTO than he was before, which I think is good. But he can also no longer accrue that indefinitely, which was something that carried over from the 2019 contract.
No other discussion, I will take a roll call vote for the approval of the amended attachment A. Miller,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes,
White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
Yes.
Larson is absent, Rios is absent, motion carries.
Anything else?
no, that's all I had, thank you.
All right, on to 7B, Housing Development and Blight Renewal Committee.
Good evening, everybody. We met last Thursday with the usual suspects. Still working towards the master housing plan. We have some deliverables that we're waiting to receive back from housing rep, I'm sorry. And basically, right now, it's just getting all our ducks in a row to figure out how we want to attack the master plan and what we're allowed to give as a enticement to get developers here and get some projects going. So we learned a lot about the state land bank and how we can use that to our benefit. We do have some properties that will work under that program that will allow us to get things moved quicker. And Aaron, do you have anything to report on some of the projects that we've been working on?
To expand on that land bank thing, there is some grant money that's allocated towards our county currently that we're gonna be looking into, allows us to demolish empty vacant houses, specifically dangerous structures that need to be just removed and start over. So we're gonna be exploring applying for that. And by applying, if we apply by the January 1st deadline, then we'll be automatically eligible for the second round come summertime.
Oh, wow, good.
So we learned a lot about that process, and we now have access to the people that run the state land bank, so that allows us to get the information we need. There's so many different avenues to it. If you have the ability to go to their website and read what you can actually do there, there's a lot of stuff that they can do, and then we can use those tools to make things happen within the village.
Can I add to that?
Go ahead.
I just thought of this, if the other townships are interested, please get with us, because we're hearing that we have a better opportunity or better chance of success if we do a multi-jurisdictional
Collaboration
application.
again. Mhm.
I've already reached out to the county treasurer. She says all the properties they have been sold. Cause I figured they'd have some that we could maybe help with, but she does not, so.
So when we started this particular committee, we were focused on the housing problems we have within the village. Because there's a million people who would like their own house, there's employees that work within the village limits that would like to work and live in the village that currently do not, they drive long distance. But we only have so much property that we can put houses on. And it's not like it was 20, 30 years ago when people were putting up spec subdivisions left and right. We had people move in, so we're looking at partnering with that next ring, so you have the village, the townships, the county. There's a lot of space, 561 square miles. there's a lot of property up for sale right now, so we're trying to get with those people and to get everything coordinated so we can start seeing some development going on here, but the future looks bright, there's some things on the horizon and
Are you sending anything out to the townships? Like to the supervisors or anything?
yes.
Okay.
And barring any other questions, that is the report for that meeting.
Do we have the next meeting scheduled?
I believe it's the first Thursday in December unless the date changed.
Can we send out an email to this supervisors letting them know of that date? Because I think it would be most productive if they were here.
That's it for me.
All right, 7C, Parks and Rec. You go. Or Bobby.
Bobby can give the report this one. I did the last one. The other one. I just did that one.
Parks and Rec. Yeah, you probably don't have your paper in front of you.
Bring up housing committees on the 5th of December.
Is that a Monday?
Yeah.
Okay, I wouldn't remember the date changed.
That's my fault.
All right,
Yeah, I don't have that.
okay. We met last week, 5 o'clock. Forget what day, because I don't have my paper in front of me. We just discussed, the grant opportunity with K&L and Cash and talked about the park. And redoing the park, and met with Gosling, and they showed us some designs, and we have another meeting Thursday. So, at 5 o'clock. Yeah, 5 o'clock Thursday.
Did they say which round of that grant, the Sparks grant that they're aiming to submit?
We're trying to get it for round one.
Round one?
Yeah, we've gotta get everything done like quick.
It's looking like we can certainly do it.
Now, is that the one that's due the 31st of January?
I don't remember the date.
No, it's in December.
December.
It's the December
So
date.
that
It's like
includes,
December 12th or December 15th or somewhere around there.
Grants out here, can't remember.
So we figured out which of the design options that we're looking at. The one that makes most sense, because we're looking at 3 different permutations. Moving the parking lot, cutting down the parking lot, not having a parking lot, leaving the parking lot the way it is, what's
Yeah.
playscapes are gonna go wherever, so. It's utilizing that space to get the most bang for the buck and the most sense of utilizing it, bringing the community together instead of putting elements all over town that will keep the family separated when little Billy and Susie, who are 5, can play here, but Johnny and Tommy have to go all the way across town because they're not allowed to be on the same campus because there's only little Tykes toys there, so.
Trying to do for all.
So did you guys say that you've already chosen a design, or is there gonna be a public input?
it's not a design, it's
It's not
a,
a design.
it's a, what do you call it? Like, it's not the actual what play structure will be where,
Concept.
it's the
Yeah.
concept.
It's a layout
Areas, area
Like-
concept.
Yeah, that's what it is, area. Like what you could put over here, what you could put over here.
But there will still be an opportunity for
Oh,
the
yes.
public to
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
input. Thank you.
And I don't know if you guys know, we did do a survey through the schools, all the, what did we do, 1 through 8?
Middle
All
school,
through
yeah.
way through middle school,
I
so.
got quite a few responses from the kids
Oh,
on
what they would
what they
like
would
to
like to see in a playground. And
That was, last year?
Oh, we just did it
It was just-
recently.
just recently.
I thought it just
Yeah,
did
we
it.
just did it recently. So we got all their feedback and what they wanted.
Yeah, Parks and Rec's working on the park concept, state park type thing for all the parks that are in the area that we've talked about before.
Well, we have to finalize the purchase for Railroad Square, but once we do that, then we will designate all 3 officially parks.
I just wondered if that was in the workshop. All right.
That's all we have to report for Parks and Rec.
For the audience that doesn't know what that means, that if a piece of property is designated an official park, no council can ever choose to sell it. It would have to be a referendum of the public. And right now, we do not have anything designated officially as a park. But we would propose Chalker Park, Mill Pond Park, and Railroad Square be designated parks.
That's all we have. On to 8, Reports from village officers. A, police report.
Have you been reading those? It seems like some of the crimes keep getting worse and worse.
Yeah, I just looked at this
I
one. here.
know,
It's not just here though, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
I know, I just hate it. I
So
mean, that means our guys are in danger as well.
it's, yeah.
Yeah.
So I just refreshed all the officers on the winter ordinances, so they're up to date. Things like parking and snow removal ordinances. All the officers have been assigned specific zones in the village that they're responsible for ordinance enforcement. The Iceman bike race is done for another year.
It was very successful.
I think it was, there's a couple things I think we see that may, hopefully will keep traffic moving, because Island Lake Road and West Kalkaska were backed up all the way to the state highways for about 4 hours. But
There's gotta be something.
that was it.
Yeah.
So, we just liquidated all 3 of our old Crown Victorias. We sold those through Gov Deals, got almost $5,000 for the 3 of them, which was insanely high. If we sell them local, we're lucky to get $1,000 out of a car. So all 3 of those have been sold. And we are doing the No Shave November, December for our Shop with a Cop. We will be doing that again in December, where we take 5 kids to Meyer and help them Christmas shop for their families, kids that wouldn't be able to do that otherwise. This will be the 3rd year.
That's good.
I love it.
And you want me to go on to the manager's report now?
Yes, you want to go on to the manager's report.
North Walnut Street is done, finally. I did look during the big heavy rains. It looked like it was draining okay. However, the shoulders were not filled at that point, so we'll have to wait and see, but I don't anticipate any problems. Elmer's will return in the spring, being that they weren't able to seed the shoulders properly with the season. They'll come back and fix that if it needs to be. The valve we've been talking about in the middle of Cedar Street has been repaired. You probably see the patch in the middle of the road. We had a leaking valve. It's no longer even a valve. It's now just they put a union in there. So the valve's been eliminated. So hopefully that will be done forever. We did an intent to apply for a grant for well 6. And we sat through a meeting with Eagle about that. They seem to like our chances. Our biggest downfall is that we don't have to have it. They're not requiring it. But our biggest bonus is that they're not requiring it. And they're happy about that, because they usually have to tell a jurisdiction, you need a new well. We're doing it so we can get rid of the two old wells over at Mill Pond, which are not deep enough and not treated. Get rid of those completely, seal those, and drill the new well. So we're still working on that. Filter media upgrade at the iron removal plant is complete. Everything is up and running. All the back tests passed, and they're now trying to get the chlorine back to the higher levels, because when they change that media out, it takes some of the residual chlorine away. So they have to build that back up. But Craig said that's actually building up better than he anticipated. So it sounds like that's almost done as well. Sold some DPW equipment along with the cars. Total with the cars and all the DPW equipment, between $8,000 and $9,000 of stuff that we liquidated that's not being used. We had for example, a transit back there that they used when the DPW used to install water and sewer lines however many years ago. Just was no point of it being there anymore, so we sold it, stuff like that. And last, Mr. White, thank you for your service to the council and to the village of Kalkaska.
I'm not going anywhere. As long as I live here, you're stuck with me.
Question, what are the 2 big squares of cement that were replaced behind Railroad Square, Maple? Great big squares.
Oh, where they pulled the trees out?
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, and it pulled up some of the road?
no, we had trees there. The original design was 2 tree islands. They weren't really islands because the trees were dying because the salt gets in there and it just takes up eats
Oh, that
up
makes
parking
sense.
spaces.
Okay,
So
that makes sense.
we just paved over them and added the parking spaces back.
Cool. I didn't remember the trees being there. Isn't that awful?
In 1 year, they died. So
Yep.
Well, that's why I didn't remember. Thank you, just curious.
I did enjoy getting this report from IAI.
I like that report.
Yes.
to kind of get an overview of what's happening at the water plant. I found it very informative.
Mhm.
And I was also curious if we had an estimate. I know that they didn't check exact numbers, but an estimate on how many people participated in the leaf pickup from our vendor, because when we got the bids this summer, some were for just lump sum, which I think is what we went with, versus the number of households that participated. So
I
it'd be good
do
to,
not, but I will ask him.
yeah, even if it's just like a range, so that we,
I'm gonna say it's somewhere between, I'm gonna say it's in the 50% range if I had to, just based on what I was driving around and seeing.
so you think about 300?
Yeah, because I think, didn't we say 670 residences?
Yeah, he actually had to go back out
Yep.
because he got calls saying that, they didn't know nothing about it, so he actually made another trip, even though he really didn't have to.
But we did have some that got missed too.
Yes, so he did a really good job, really quick, I thought.
Took them a couple days, but there's only a few of them, so.
Well, I didn't have the biggest truck, so lots of trips back to the compost pile, the MPO.
But I don't know, how many, did you have any calls from residents about their pleasure or their
Satisfaction.
feedback on the pickup?
Yes, maybe not phone calls, but actually people that came in after the fact.
And I had a few phone calls and emails. There was, especially our older citizens that, they used to have to rake that up and put it in their vehicle and take it to the compost, and they really appreciate that.
I heard from a couple other people too, and they did appreciate it highly, but they thought it was just a little bit too early. Cause they
See,
still had trees in
You
the
can't
yard.
do it, but you can't do it much later, because if they get wet, you can't pick them up.
Oh, okay.
So it's,
Well, that was the only comment I
Yeah.
heard, so.
There was only one more day, I think, that the leaves really dropped.
yeah, it was,
After that, it was, their leaves were pretty much all down except for that one windy cold snap we had in. Just by here, I had a lot of trees.
it came, like, we scheduled it, and I thought, and then all of a sudden it was like,
But we have discussed doing a spring one
yes.
as well, so,
Many people have
And-
been asking.
Mhm.
as we are a monarch-friendly town, or whatever the name that we did.
something
Yeah,
like
the
that.
monarchs.
Yeah, we like
Yeah,
the monarchs.
Yep.
It's not bad to leave some leaves
Yeah.
in your yard, and we'll get them later in the spring.
So I will get that ballpark number for you guys, and then we'll have to make a decision what we wanna do for spring pickup.
And then my other question was, any updates on the pavilion and moving meetings there?
Well, good question. So the heat's in,
Okay,
um,
that's good.
it seems to be working well.
Okay,
We have an app to control it, so we can turn it up and down, so it's not heating when we're not there. We're gonna have to figure out what we wanna do for tables and chairs, and I think Mr. White suggested maybe some of the white folding tables just for the council, so you have something to write on, and then chairs for the public.
and then was there something about sound?
Yes, I've got,
Acoustic.
2 emails out waiting for like designs and quotes for putting in sound dampening. I think especially people that have difficulty hearing are really gonna struggle in that room until we get that figured out.
Thank you.
So I guess my thought is, and it's up to you guys because it's your meetings, but I think until we get that figured out, we should probably stay here.
Rapid City, they did their old hall. And I guess whatever they put in there, I haven't seen it, but they said it works great, so it could be an option.
Is that it?
Yep.
All right, 8C, President's Report, there is none. 9, unfinished business, we have none. 10, new business. A, consider recommendation from Planning Commission to appoint Heidi Cato to vacancy on board, term expiring November 30th, 2024.
I'll make the motion.
Sure.
Is that a roll call or, no? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Are you Heidi?
I am, yes.
Oh,
Thank you for the
welcome.
opportunity.
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you for volunteering.
Remember, no good deed goes unpunished.
I don't know if you guys know Heidi, but she came in shortly after moving into town looking to get involved in things. She actually came to us wanting to do something.
Good for
So
her.
That's good.
we weren't gonna let her get away.
We need more people like that.
No, you should have, probably somebody should have told you anything you volunteer for in Kalkaska's for life.
Yeah, well, I'm ready, so thank you.
Or get rid
I
of
can attest to that, it's for life.
Never leave meetings early because you don't know what you volunteered for.
No, no,
All right, 10B. Consider recommendation for planning commission to appoint D. Allen White to vacancy on board, term expiring November 30th, 2023.
I'll make the motion.
sport.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Are you Damien?
Hey, don't spoil yourself.
That's where I started, that's where I'm going back to.
All right. C, consider recommendation from planning commission to reappoint James Smith, expired term.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. I'm waiting for her hand, geez, I can see her ringing. I'm like, I don't wanna rush her.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. All right, D. Consider recommendation from planning commission to reappoint Jessica Swift, expired term.
I'll make the motion.
Sport.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Right. E, consider adoption of resolution 2022-021 MDNR Spark Grant.
I love that name, Spark Grant.
So moved.
Sport.
Discussion?
I mean, how, since there's gonna be such a fast turnaround on this, we won't see the grant application, right? This is authorizing it to be submitted
It's,
by the DDA and the president directly.
no,
No,
We won't review it.
no.
Kaz and Zubek will prepare it for us
Yeah, they're very not.
because they have the ability to do that in a timely manner.
How specific is it gonna be? Like, is it
Pretty
gonna lock us
specific.
into anything?
No.
that-
No, there's a limit on the grant and we will not have a problem reaching the limit. So we'll just being justifying the limit and applying for that.
Thank you.
Makes sense.
And it's gotta do a roll call.
I would like to take a roll call vote on
Unlike a
this.
lot of grants, there's no match on this one.
Neither.
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
Yes.
Larson is absent, Miller,
Yes.
Wales is absent, motion carries.
F, consider adoption of resolution 2022-022 amendment to village fee schedule.
Move.
Motion from Diana.
Support.
Who was the support, I'm sorry?
Bobby.
Bobby.
I have a question, a few. So the irrigation meters, growth rates go up by a few cents per gallon. Is that the annual or is this different?
That was actually an oversight that the 14-17 is the water base across the board. And that should have been updated along with the water base when it was updated previously,
Okay.
same as the consumption.
And then, the meters that are crossed out here, that's something that we're not offering anymore, I'm assuming?
Is that the
All
updated
the-
price?
The updated pricing, correct.
So the price that we were using is an old price.
No, for the long meters here that are all crossed out. On page 2.
Oh, it's saying it's one is saying $85 until out of stock. think they just crossing that out, was,
Yeah,
We just wanted to eliminate the actual prices because we want to keep current on what the actual meter costs are going to be. And
Oh,
rather than having to come back and change the fee
That makes
schedule
sense.
every time the meter price
Yeah,
is
first line,
updated,
they're above the
we're just specifying actual cost plus 10%.
plus 10%.
I see, so this recondition along meter for $85.
That,
all
that
new
remains
meters.
as is.
These two, but that's what we revert to.
that's all that will be there now, correct. Instead of, like Andy said, if you have the prices listed and they change, we have to change it every time the prices change.
Right. And then reducing the sign permit fee.
It was just, we felt like it was higher than it should be. I mean, it's a pretty simple application. 75 just seemed too expensive to me.
Do we get a lot of those a year?
No.
I guess maybe a half
Half a
dozen.
dozen.
Is it high compared to other communities?
We didn't compare, we were just comparing to the amount of work that it takes to process one.
And then removing the medical marijuana license annual application.
We had no idea where that came from or why it was ever there.
Is it an
because
old one that didn't get pulled out and replaced by the others?
None of us remember ever using that number. We don't know where that came from. Because in the, further down
Yeah,
at the end here, it's all covered.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where that ever, how that got, oh, I remember now, we did figure that out. It was the medical people that had a license for their home. Which we had one person that had a medical grow license for their residence, but they don't need that anymore because they can grow in their residence without a license now.
I see.
Makes sense.
And then rent increases 5% annually under the airport lease.
Yes.
What is that?
The lease for the hangars. It's in the
It's-
contracts
it's-
already,
Yes,
correct?
it's in the hangars that it's increased 5% annually in the budget, each budget year.
So it's in, every hangar owner signs a contract, and in that contract, there's a 5% increase. I just thought it should be on the fee schedule as well if it's a fee
Probably
employee
should.
charge.
Right, but it's increasing that 32 cents per square foot. Is that what the 5% is applied to?
The 5% is applied to their actual hangar lease, which is based
Based
on
on
that 32 cents per square foot.
So yes,
So is it increased each year to the person? Like if I have a lease for 2 years, the second year is 5%, and Damien has a lease for 4 years, each year his is 5%.
yes.
It's not like in 2021 it's this rate, 2022 it increased 5%.
Well, so when we say a lease, they technically own that building. There's not a period of time, correct?
Yeah, they own, the hangars are privately owned. They're
They
just
own the
leasing
hangar,
land.
they just rent the land that the hangar is on.
I guess I'm not grasping how this 5% is applied. Like if it's, each year, we're just gonna increase the lease amount. Like if someone new comes in next year, will they be paying 5% on top of the 32 cents, or do they start on the 32
No,
cents?
it'll be 5% above that.
So we need a year tying to this 32 cents per square foot, right? If it's,
It says per year.
right,
Oh,
but there's no year.
Beginning on,
Yeah, beginning on.
Okay.
does that make sense to you?
I think so.
Because 32 cents won't be 32 cents next year.
Okay.
So that does
I know.
make sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, so it should say 32 cents.
Because whatever the increase was this year, the 5% is based on the increased amount for the next year.
first
So
year,
the 32 cents per square foot was the basis of
Correct.
each hangar, so.
So it would say 32 cents as of now.
2022, 5% increase each year.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We're not doing these no more.
We are, the only reason we were charging,
For the grease trap.
Grease trap inspections, the only reason that fee was added prior to me being manager was that it was justification for the fee for the inspections for the cannabis industry.
Oh,
If you charge
So-
one, you should charge both.
okay.
So grease trap inspection was,
They will still
inspection
happen, we'll still
for
do.
the,
Restaurants, stuff like that.
oh, okay. Sorry, I have to catch up with my
Yeah,
notes.
where all the grease goes. Yeah, and we're not.
Do other communities charge for their grease trap?
Not that I know of. And we don't need to inspect them regularly, like on a set schedule. But IAI has already started looking at a couple of them because we were having problems specifically at the Big Boy lift station with grease. So that narrows it down to really 3 restaurants. So
Mhm.
they go into those 3, they check them and figure out where the problem's coming from. Because grease is very detrimental to our sewer system.
Okay, cannabis application late fee, $450. This is an addition.
That's something we've always done. It just never was written in the fee
In the
schedule.
schedule.
And then we've added the Railroad Square fees as we have taken over operations of that. The DDA, I believe, had different rates depending on if you were using the kitchen or not. It
Yes.
looks like we are not.
We wanted to get rid of all of that, make it one simple, because if I rent the pavilion, I'm not gonna expect a family to rent the grass area. And we have 2 different parties going.
Yeah,
That just never makes sense to me.
I agree with
Same with
that.
the kitchen, if you rent the pavilion, why would you wanna rent the kitchen separately? Cause
To someone else, yeah.
where are they gonna go if you can't have somebody walk around and,
Yeah, I agree.
so yeah, it should be just one flat.
Just trying to streamline it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have these kind of reverted to the higher rates that the DDA had,
No,
or
we're-
the lower rates
We're
are in the
still,
middle?
we're still less. We wanted to decrease the rate a little bit. The only difference from ours to theirs is that they call a resident anybody that lives in Kalkaska County. We're calling a resident anybody that lives in the village.
Yeah, village residents. That's still cheap.
Yeah, but you don't cover anything for like somebody like Trail Festival that wants to rent it for a weekend.
Unless they have someone who lives
community
here who
events.
has the village,
Did that make it on there?
No,
No,
Oh, didn't we talk about,
We did community events.
that will be on there,
Yeah.
community events, or we can waive.
can we just amend the motion to make the change for
Yes,
the
I
airport one and this
Yeah.
one here? Did you make the motion?
no, I just asked where it was.
Diana did make the
No.
original.
Diana made the motion? Okay, you made the original motion to.
Oh, okay.
Not the-
Yeah, we're
So
still
you
there.
have to amend
Yeah,
for
I
the
did.
airport and for.
And waiving the rental fees for community events.
Yeah, we had talked about that, but it just didn't make it on here. We feel that's how it should be. That's the whole point, is to promote the community and give us a place to do these things and draw people into town. Right now, the farmer's market is there through the end of December.
Well, and I say the weekend for Trail Festival, it may be as early as Wednesday night, like throwback ceremonies, and then use it Friday, Saturday.
Recommendation, get with Angie soon.
Okay,
She has some reservations in 2024.
okay.
I already got it with you.
So the amendment was to add community events to the village resident rate, or to
No,
the
no,
non-resident?
No
No
rate,
rate.
no rate, like fair or Trout Fest, those are
Well,
community
see,
events.
something like that, we don't make a donation,
Yeah.
if we feel it's worth it.
Would there still be a cleaning fee?
That I can understand too.
The deposit, the refundable
The
deposit.
deposit,
But a non-
deposit, yes.
A non-refundable, like a cleaning fee?
Well, we don't have a non-refundable.
$100 refundable.
I don't think it hurts to have $100 for a cleaning
Oh, I
fee.
see.
Under the new agreement for rental of facility, you're responsible for cleaning up, leaving the condition you found it in.
Okay.
And our reason for making that 100 is because I think 50 was enough that I would probably say, I'm not gonna clean it, you guys do it. I wanna make it enough that they wanna clean it.
User
Guess what?
names.
And I don't wanna clean it. I paid $100 out of my pocket to have somebody else do it. Okay, anyway,
And then, the food truck, that is a lower
yes,
rate, by how much?
$200.
Less than
$200, yeah, that's very good,
That makes more
Yeah.
sense. That 600 was horrible.
very good.
Bet you get more people.
That's our hope.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it full.
Except during Trail Festival.
You're not totally
Who will be recruiting food trucks now that we are, managing it instead of the DDA?
I don't know. I guess me.
Are you volunteering, Elizabeth?
I'm not, but I can make spreadsheets.
I'm just saying, you know, how we open our
Did
mouth.
we
and
ever
then
get a
we end up
second
doing-
on this?
Yes.
I think
Yes.
Bobby was the
Okay,
second.
okay. It's already done, I usually
The
do.
$400 a month for food trucks is actually really good, because that's, from where I went out and talked to food trucks, that's the price they were willing to pay and not complain about it.
I just think it's doable. I think you can cover your expenses pretty easy with that.
They'll be happy that
Well, and as prices go up, they understand it when their leases and stuff go up, but to start out there, there was no
Well,
place to go.
The first mistake was basing it on Traverse City. We're not Traverse City.
Mhm.
We don't have the traffic that Traverse City has. And you have to get it off the ground before you
It
can
is
start to drive.
benefit us greatly.
Top dollar.
Yep, I think that is true.
We're gonna evaluate this for the first year and see where our costs come in and what our expenses are and what our, and, you know, we're not trying to make money.
Gonna
on the
read the
facility,
spreadsheet,
but
Elizabeth.
We kind of need to break even and
Spreadsheet.
at least cover our
Cover the
expenses.
expenses.
I have no further questions.
For the whole meeting.
Not a promise.
Okay, Angie.
All right, and Bobby is the second. You're agreeable to the amendment, those the two amendments?
Yes.
Thank you. Take a roll call vote. White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
Yes.
Larson is absent, Miller,
Yes.
Needham,
Yes,
and Wales is absent, motion carries.
G, consider adoption of resolution 2022-023, authorizing marketing and promotion strategy for the village of Kalkaska.
So that is something that came from the DDA. I asked them, and I have not gotten an answer as to whether or not this costs us anything. I don't know the answer to that.
So should we wait till even vote on it
Well,
until we get an answer?
this is something they need for RRC, correct?
It's a, yes,
Okay,
it's a
okay.
yes, it's a requirement for the RRC.
All right. I mean, it's worth it to.
Make a
honestly.
motion.
I'll
We
support it.
haven't yet.
I mean, when you think about it, it's marketing and we
Well,
need it.
now that I know RRC better, I see the value to it.
Mhm.
It appears that this is, it's I just totally forgot the word.
Planning, strategic.
No, it's the language,
Oh.
the promotional language and plan, right? So, this is like the approved language here that we use, the approved logos that we use. So anywhere on our websites or social media or platforms, these are the words and languages.
So I don't anticipate any cost. I don't see anything in there, but
Yeah, it doesn't say who put it together, so I don't know if they did, and if they did, good for them. It's pretty decent.
I think, what's her name? Ray?
Perhaps.
I think Ray did it.
Yeah, that's very possible. I did have some questions, and I don't know if we will know the answer to them, but in the, distribution process and plan, unless I missed it, it does not say which Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. It says it's the Explore Kalkaska website, so I don't know if that means that it is the DDA's accounts or if it's the village's
I think
accounts.
that's DDA.
It's
isn't
the
it?
Explore Kalkaska, it's not the village.
Yeah.
Because it also says, where is it? It was in the frequency that they're posting. me, give me a quick minute. Somewhere in here, I read that they
Average and
wanted,
track posts provided monthly, quarterly, bi-annually, and annual reports. Is that what you're looking for?
I don't think so, but it might be near where you are.
That's page 9.
Okay. It said, how frequently the post would be, and it was like twice a day. And that is, all right here, events, frequency.
That's for upcoming events.
8 to 10 days in advance, frequency minimum 14 posts weekly, twice a day.
That will not be.
If that's on them,
They'll have to
okay,
be.
but if it was gonna be on our staff, that's a lot.
Well, they're running the board, right?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so that's probably what they're talking about, is on their board.
Create press releases if needed, share
Yeah.
on social media.
Yeah, that's probably on Explore Kalkaska,
Yeah, cause
because that's what they do.
yeah,
And you can schedule your posts on social media, so you only have to do it once and toggle anytime you want to.
Yeah, I know, but it's still.
I think it's on them because I know when we've had our events, we just give them the information and they put it up on the board and then they blast it out on Explore Kalkaska.
Although under this, it's more timely than what they had to do.
Yes, it is. It's very more timely.
I think that, I would be more in support of this if somewhere, and maybe I'm missing it said that it was, that this plan applies to the DDA's social media accounts and not the village's social media accounts.
What about a conditional approval asking them to update that?
Yeah.
And that way we don't hold up our RC time, but we still get it in there, because I'll tell you, the only person in this office that has the access to the Facebook is her, and she doesn't have time for it.
That was my main concern. I mean, everything else looks like it's
Well, the only
nothing
place
that's
that
new.
mentions the DDA doing that is where you go to, like a couple of these individuals, like critical information that says that the updates must be made and approved by the village manager or the DDA director. But it doesn't say just the DDA.
My understanding was that the DTA was spearheading this whole thing, so that was what I got.
I think making that a condition is a good way to pass this.
Like they also wanna post the village meetings, the morning of the meetings, which is fine, but if it was us, we would have to obviously post them sooner than that, right, for the 18 hours.
18 hours.
18 hours.
Yeah, 18 hours.
So it would be a different condition. If they also wanna share our meetings, that's.
Which I think they already do on Explore Kalkaska. I think they have somebody designated. They do have a marketing and promotions committee that actually does all that. I think Brittany's on there.
Other than
I think
that,
that's what's on that.
Yeah, Brittany's on it. Some of them have the time to do it.
Yeah, she got some, I think there's somebody else that's on there.
Or what they actually do for a living. Any more discussion?
who made them, I think I made the motion?
made the
Yeah.
Great,
Do you wanna change it
yeah,
to?
so I don't know how to do a conditional motion. But I would like to, adopt, sorry, where are we?
Can you do it as a condition?
Adopt the resolution with the condition,
2022-23.
yeah, 2022, 23. On the condition that the DDA revises the document to specify that the
You're
DDA
responsible.
Yeah.
will be responsible for implementing the plan and will utilize the DDA's platforms.
Do you see any issue with that, Angie?
I do not.
seconded? Was it you?
That was Diana. And I'm just gonna read this back and make sure I have it, correct here. Conditional approval of resolution 2022-023, with the condition that the DDA revise the document specifying that they will be implementing the plan and promoting events on the DDA platform. Is that correct?
That they'll be in
i-
charge.
Implementing the plan on the DDA's platform.
Got it, okay, got it,
That's there.
got it.
And I'd still second that.
Okay. I'm going to take a roll call vote. Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
Yes.
Larson is absent, Miller,
Yes,
Needham,
Yes,
White,
Yes, ma'am.
Wales is absent, motion carries.
10H. Consider adoption of resolution 2022-024 to defend and identify village officials and employees.
I think one of the reasons this came up is we found out that a couple people were listed in that on our directors and employees indemnification plan. And then they were named by name. And there's a couple that aren't in there, and we feel that it would just be much easier for the village if we just say policy to defend and indemnify all village officials and employees. And we don't have to change this every time we change an employee.
Or an official.
Right.
So I would make that motion that we approve resolution 2022-24.
Support.
This just saves us doing this every time we change employees.
And it will be in one space, because right now it was done multiple times for each
Yes.
different person, and there's different
Yes,
resolutions
Mhm.
throughout the years. This will just make one.
like one big balloon. Any more discussion?
Take a roll call vote for the adoption of resolution 2022-024. Dunham,
Yes.
Larson is absent, Miller,
Yes,
Needham,
Yes,
White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Wales is absent, motion carries.
all right. I, consider adoption of ordinance 2022-021, repealing ordinance 2022-002, sale of village-owned non-public park property.
So this is an ordinance that was written by Warner Norcross and Judd. Oh, sorry.
I'll make the motion for discussion.
support.
So this was originally written by Warner Norcross and Judd, and they told us that we needed this to be able to sell property. When we switched back to Brian Graham told us all this does is make the process, add steps to it that aren't necessary, and it doesn't eliminate the need for an ordinance every time you sell a piece of property. So it just made more steps, more requirements in the process that just aren't needed.
So just to clarify, the one that we did at the beginning of the year, that we were like, we're gonna make this ordinance that just allows us to do it, so we don't have to go back every time. We didn't need that one, because we have to vote every time. we
According to
sell
Brian
property.
Graham, correct.
Okay.
Which actually makes more sense.
So we will still have to do an ordinance every time.
Mhm.
He said whether we have this ordinance or not, every time we do a sale, we'll have to do an ordinance to sell that property.
Yeah, which makes more sense to me than this does. Yeah.
Any more discussion?
Ready for a roll call vote? Larson is absent, Miller,
Yes,
Needham,
Yes,
White,
Yes.
Bishop,
Yes.
Dunham,
Yes.
Wales is absent, motion carries.
J, consider adoption of resolution 2022-025, authorizing street closure for requested parades.
So moved.
So far.
And you might think we've already done this before, but we ran into a problem today with the Christmas parade and what they put in their initial letter that we approved with the times, and they don't correspond with the time that they're actually doing the parade. So we had two different documents going to MDOT that didn't agree with each other. So we took the times out of it and made it very generic and easy to interpret.
Thank you for allowing the streamlining of all the processes for these things. It may have been.
Well, didn't you just do the same thing for Trout Festival too? It makes more
It's
sense.
just
That's what we,
ridiculous to come back to the table with the annual events over and over and over and over again for 18 million meetings that are already too damn long every week.
If anybody didn't do the Christmas parade last year, it was so cool. It was one of the best ones they had. It was neat.
And this one on Wasteful was nice.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're good. Number 11, brief public comment once again.
Madam Pro Tem, I have a couple of items real quick. From the meeting live feed, we had a citizen ask, or citizen state that they love the leaf pickup, but they wonder if the paved alleys could be included on the next pickup if we do it.
I could talk to the contractor, but I'm guessing that's probably going to be a lot bigger, lot more time, because you'll have so many more surfaces to go down. So I'm gonna guess that's probably a no, but I will verify that.
So that question is, and for my second item, it has been an absolute pleasure to serve with you guys. 8 years on this board has been rather nerve-wracking at times. We've been through an awful lot of stuff since I joined the crew, but I'm not going anywhere. You're still gonna have to put up with me in the audience. I will still be here to make sure that you are broadcast live for every meeting and that you are held accountable for the things that you do. And I will send you harassment from the planning commission, so. But keep up the good work.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for your service.
That's all I have.
Any brief, public comment?
I just want to introduce myself. My name is Al Parker. I'm a freelance writer here for the Review, the Antrim Kalkaska Review. And I'll be covering these meetings in the foreseeable future.
Awesome.
Okay.
Welcome, sir.
What was your name again?
Al
Al.
Parker.
Okay.
In fact, my baby brother Bruce said to say hello.
Oh, Bruce and Sandy.
Yes, yes. As a little bit of background, I live in Traverse City now, but we were county residents for 17 years. And both my children graduated from Kalkaska High School. So it's good to be back covering these.
Now that I look at you, you look like your brother.
He looks like me.
Oh, he looks like you.
Well,
Okay.
You don't have a card, do you?
Yeah, I do.
I want his voice. I don't have anything narrated. I want his voice.
Any other public comment? We're adjourned.
But
So where are we at with the commission? He goes, what do we have to do? Appoint somebody, wait for?
I'm with
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
are you?
Yeah, so we have to-
That's where we live.
do we have to-
Oh, did you?
That's
Okay.
right, yeah.
The election there.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. There it is.
Yeah.